Good day, everyone. So, our topic is all about a business letter. But before I proceed on my discussion, I would like to introduce myself, of course. I'm Rejoy Hesta from BSED English 2A. So, we will tackle about the first subtopic, which is the part of a business letter. Actually, this is just a continuation of the report of Mr. Clapano. So now let's proceed to the signature line. So when we say signature line, it is a horizontal line that aligned with adjacent text and two signature which are needed in the printed or type written signature. So, signature is the opportunity to brand every message we send. Actually, it establish and reinforce who um, who you are as a company. So, by creating a cohesive email signature line, we must bear in our mind that the length of each signature line is really essential. So now let's proceed to the notation. Actually, there are five parts of the notation. The first one is the identification initial. The second one is the enclosure, the carbon copy, the blind copy, the postscript file. So, but first, we will tackle about the identification initial. So, identification initials, this is called as the typist initial. So, some companies require this so that they will know who actually typed the letter versus who composed it in order to determine who is responsible for the typos, misspellings, and other mistakes. So, for enclosure, this will be seen below the closing. So, enclosure plays an important role by the sense that it reminds the recipients that additional items were included with the letter. So, for the carbon copy, carbon copy means that you intend to send the letter to the multiple recipients. So CC, which stands for carbon copy, so this can be especially useful for letters you want to spend up a company or an organized chain. Letting recipients know exactly who else received the same document. So now let's proceed to the blind copy. So blind copy, this would allows us to accomplish goals without advertising that you are doing it. So it is often used to prevent a accidental reply all from sending a reply intended for only the originator of the what of the message. So to the entire recipients, of course. So now let's proceed to the last part of the notation, which is the postscript file. So it is a page description language that describes the page text and graphical content. So it is useful for the writer wishes to emphasize some point in the letter or if a point worthy of mention. So it arises after the letter has been written. So now let's proceed to the second subtopic of a business letter, which is the format and the style of a business letter. So first is the full black style. So it is a letter format in which all the text is justified to the left margin. So In a full business letter, every component of the letter, like the heading, you see the heading, the address, the solicitation, the body, the signature, the identification, the enclosures, and all the parts of the letter has aligned to the left. As you can see, all the letter is aligned to the left. So now let's proceed to the modified block style. So when we say modified block business letter, it is a letter uses a format that's slightly different from the full block letter. So this is different from the first format. So this letter has the writer's name, company's name. So it address, date, and closing aligned a few spaces to the right of center or on the right margin rather along the left margin. So it is more likely on the left, as you can see, right? But the first letters is from the right alignment. You see, you can see it. So let's now proceed to the semi-block style. So this letter style places the date used in the alignment with or slightly to the right dead center. So it is really similar to the previous block but has a informal appearance, as you can see, no? So all elements are left aligned except for the beginning of each paragraph, which is indented 5 spaces. So as you can see, the first paragraph, which is or the letter is on the right side. You can sew it. So for our indented style is somewhat more complicated than the other popular style of the business writing. So this is more complicated one than the other business letter. So actually, it's because this is the oldest style of writing a business letter. Also, in an intended format letter, the first word of every paragraph is written, leaving some of 2 or 4 spaces from the left margin. Actually, you can see it, diba? It leaving a 4 or 2 spaces from the left margin. So other parts are arranged. The date is on the right margin inside. The address is on the left margin. The subject is in the middle of the 2 margin. And the complement clause is on the right margin. So as you can see it, you can observe it actually. So now let's proceed to the hanging style. So this style is very rarely used. A hanging indented letter style is when a paragraph is indented so that the first line hangs over the rest. So at the left hand margin and the other lines of the same paragraph are indented 3 to 4 spaces. You can see it. So it indented to 3 or 4 spaces. So for the last but not the least is the memorandum style. So the format of memo is much simpler than the other format. So this is more simpler than the other business letter that we tackled earlier, right? So this would have a date line, a subject line, and the other body of the message. Actually, you can easily put the memorandum at the top of the letter. So it's easy. That's all.